Hey, Paul. Okay, so here we are. There it is. 7005 8030. That is the Vietnam SOG watch. Okay, yours is it's not got bad accuracy. Amplitude's really low. It's got a ton of beat error, but just like a 7000 series, look, it's relatively clean. These are just amazing movements. They're just unkillable. So it's definitely running. It's definitely alive. It took some real work to get this open. It's got some not bad corrosion, but it's definitely this watch saw action in a wet part of the world. It was very dirty, and there's corrosion inside these case threads in here. I don't think it's really terrible. It's not really bad. And Seiko's case sealing design worked. No water got inside this watch, but it was definitely in a wet environment. So that's not a surprise. Let's talk cosmetics, and the cosmetics are good. This was definitely a working watch. Absolutely was a working watch. Let me adjust this down a little bit. Definitely a working watch. Okay, so let's get this going here. Yeah, I'm seeing something, by the way, I almost never see with 7000 series watches. This has got actually wear to the lower mainspring arbor port, which I almost never, ever see. But see this line of brassing around here? That lower mainspring arbor port is so worn that the barrel is tipping and it's hitting on the underneath of the train bridge. I believe I have jewels that will fit this. It's a different size pinion, a different size arbor rather. And if I do, I can simply install one of those. But it's going to have to get that kind of repair. The alternative is to replace the main plate, which I also could do. If it were me, I like to keep these watches as much as original as possible. So it's up to you which you would like to do. Because if we put a jewel in there, it's going to be good for a really, really long time. So this watch is there for a few unusual things. We know it was in a wet environment because you've got all this corrosion here inside these case threads. Absolutely did not want to come out. This seal is just like rock. And also it has the unusual wear on the lower mainspring arbor port. So whoever wore this watch was in a wet environment and they moved a lot. So the automatic winder was always going, run. So much so that it actually it ate the lower mainspring arbor port. It's unusual. I mean, we know that these were issued to special forces. I don't know that this one specifically was issued to special forces, but whoever owned this moved a lot and did so in a wet environment. And so, I don't know. We'll see. The caseback itself is in good condition. The threading is in good condition. So that's fine. Yeah, I'm sure it'll clean up just fine. There it is. That's only the second one of these I've ever personally seen. So it was pushing over the date. That's only the second one of these I've ever seen. You are missing your bezel, of course, which we've already talked about. The bezel. This is the civilian version of that watch. That's an 8030. This is an 8032. But all that talks about is area geographic distribution. This is what they looked like in the civilian market. Other than that, the case is exactly the same. So I'm going to be looking for one of these bezels for your watch. One of my suppliers has a listing for the correct bezel for this watch. I don't know if that's a real listing or a phantom listing. I'm going to have to look for it. We might have to go used to get a bezel back on for you. Because I think this case is relatively common. It's this setup that's rare. Okay, well, I mean, obviously the heart of the movement itself is good. It's a runner. It's giving us pretty decent amplitude for being completely filthy and unserviced, but it's going to need a decision about whether you want to go with a lower mainspring arbor jewel or if you want to simply just replace the whole main plate. Because I do have them. It's up to you. The long-term fix would be to do a jewel, and that would keep the watch more original to itself. But it's up to you. It's whatever you want to do. So you let me know. Okay, thank you, Paul.